Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot, or welcome to the Lone Pine Tarot if you're new to the channel. I'm so excited to have you sit down with me today for another predictive reading, plus some advice on your week ahead. So basically the next 7 days from the point that you view this video. So even if you view it at the time I upload or far in the future, of course, my readings are always timeless and it should apply to you. So without further ado, let us pick our piles. For pile number 1s, over here on the left, we have the Ram and Dahlia. For pile number 2s in the middle, we have the Owl and Hop. And for pile 3s, we have the Hawk and the Thistle over here on the right. So feel free to pause on this part of the video if you still need some time to decide what pile you would like read for you. But of course, as always, whenever you are ready, whenever you've let your intuition guide you to the right path, the timestamps for the readings are down in the description box below and or the top pinned comment beneath the reading. Go down there, click on the timestamp, and I will see you in our discussion about your week ahead and important guidance for those next 7 days. See you there. Hello there, my lovely pile number 1s. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of important guidance for the next 7 days, the week ahead. As you recall, your pile leader today was the Ram and Dahlia with the subtitle Determination. So we'll set your pile leader over here with the pine cone as always. And right off the bat, as is our custom, we'll pull the tarot cards right now. So Spirit Team, for my awesome pile number 1s. Could you give me around 5 cards explaining more about their week ahead, please? There we go. Well, for sure that one is coming out. It was quite prominent. I feel that one too. Let's pick that one in the middle pile once. And let's unveil your cards. So first up from the Oracle decks we used today, your first card is number 18, New Experiences and Possibilities from the Nature's Whispers Oracle. New Experiences and Possibilities. Very interesting. Then your next card is from the Dream Ritual Oracle, Passion. Something you're very passionate about. Slide that next to your pile leader. And then from the Sacred Rebels Oracle today, you receive number 39, Free from Judgment, Free to Love. Put that one up there. Actually, we're gonna maybe angle those a little bit, pile number 1s, just to make them more easy to see. There we go. And let's unveil your tarot cards. First up, we have the Ace of Spells or Wands reversed. Number 2, we have the Nine of Swords or Challenges reversed. Definitely a theme popping out here. We'll talk about the meanings in a little bit. Number 3, the Ten of Wands. Ten of Spells as it's known in this deck. Yep. There we go. Sorry, just adjusting everything, making sure it looks neat. Number 4, we have the Seeker of Visions, which is the Knight of Cups in most decks, upright. And last but not least, we have the Nine of Wands reversed, or spells. Make some room here. Okay, pile number 1s. How is your next week going to go? Well, the first theme that pops out to me for you, pile number 1s, is a theme of doing your own thing and not worrying about what other people are saying. You know, not only do you have that just in the pile leader you chose with the Ram and Dahlia, with its meaning being like determination. Like we think of rams as very stubborn creatures, or goats as like very stubborn creatures, right? We think of them as animals that kind of stand in their path, or they'll climb that mountain and they're not really too hesitant about what's getting in their way. They just kind of climb over the rocks, and they might even, I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of, I think they're technically like rams or like mountain goats. They can climb some pretty treacherous looking hills that look almost too steep to climb, but they're very, very talented at it. And that's why they represent determination, because they're creatures that they don't let anything stand in their way. So going back to what I said at first, yes, it's like this week ahead is you doing your own thing and not really caring about what other people say, especially in the realms of, or I should say the areas of your life where passion, hence your Dream Ritual Oracle card, is concerned. And two, we even see that with Free from Judgment, Free to Love from the Sacred Rebels Oracle. It's like her hair here is a veil between her and the rest of the world as she's kind of looking down and focusing on her own thing. Like, what am I doing? What am I focused on? And she's not really letting the rest of, well, anybody else kind of get in her way or even peek in on what she's doing. So I almost see it too as a very introspective week up ahead. And there might be a little bit of, how do I word it? Judgment coming your way, or at least trying to come your way, is how I'll word that, pile number ones. Judgment trying to come your way this week from other people with whatever it is that you're working on, be it, I think for a lot of you it's a creative project, because you do have, passion was your Dream Ritual Oracle. You also have quite a lot of wands here, or it's known as spells in this particular tarot deck. That is the suit of fire in tarot, and fire in tarot is all about the things that we're passionate about, the things, we pour our lifeblood into, creativity, willpower, sometimes can even mean ego, things like that. And so if you're finding this next week that there's something you really want to work on and you've just some judgment coming your way, just be aware that, harken back to this tarot reading and be like, okay, I heard about that and I'm prepared for it. And I know that that's kind of something to look out for. But what you're really being invited to do this week, pile number ones, is to shed off the burden of judgment. Don't worry about what other people are saying when it comes to this. Your spirit team is really encouraging you to walk away from the peering eyes of others and not really even care about what they're saying. It could be, I can't really pin it down for all of you because this is a general reading. Everyone's going to be a little bit different in how this applies, but just for an example, say you are at work and there is a new project that you have suggested and your manager gives you the go-ahead, like, hey, yeah, go ahead, try that, see how it works. We'll look at how successful it is later, but at least they're giving you the room to plant that seed and nurture it and watch it grow. Yeah, there might be some other people, like say coworkers, that come along and they're like, oh, that's never going to work, or, oh, that's a dumb idea. And the spirit team is just telling you, just throw away the naysayers, basically. Like, it's good to learn from constructive criticism, pile number ones, but the criticism coming your week from other people in this area, your spirit team is saying it's not really the constructive kind, and so really maybe you should just kind of throw it out the window so that it doesn't impede your passion. Because, sometimes that happens where we can be really passionate about something, and when other people say maybe not the nicest things about it, that can knock our confidence and our belief in ourselves and in the projects that we're working on. And so that's why your spirit team is really just saying, focus on you, focus on your circus and your monkeys, and kind of... Yeah, it's like I see you, once again, I'm looking at this card from the Sacred Rebels, the Free from Judgment, Free to Love. It's like you just kind of putting your head down and your nose to the grindstone and letting your hair as this veil between you and the rest of the world, and just, this is my desk. These are the things that I am working on. This is what I am focused on. I'm not going to focus on what anybody else says. So that's like the main piece of guidance, or at least the first piece of guidance, I should say, for the week ahead for you, pile number ones, okay? I haven't even gotten to your tarot cards yet. I touched on them a little bit when we talked about the wands, of course, being the fire suit of tarot, but... Two, I do see a lot of invitations to new things, especially with your Nature's Whispers Oracle, was new experiences and possibilities. That card is all about being open to new things, being open to trying maybe a restaurant you haven't gone to before, or walking or driving a different way home from work or from a place that you go often. could even be talking to people that you haven't talked to before. So just reach out and try new things this week, or at least you'll be presented with a lot of opportunities to do so, and you're being encouraged to kind of go in that area. And I think, especially if you're a creative person, pile number ones, I'm hearing that part of these new experiences and possibilities are good for kindling that creativity in you. There's something about trying that new thing or talking to that new person that's going to inspire like a spark of passion in you regarding something you're creative about. If you are like a creative person, like say artist, writer, etc., musician, however you express yourself and your soul, of course, pile number ones. But yeah. And then looking at your tarot cards, I'm also just going to take just a quick little break to take a drink. Apologies for a moment of silence while I look over these and drink my tea. Yeah, I mean, your tarot cards are kind of just reiterating what I was just talking about. You know, we have the Ace of Wands here at the very beginning reversed. Ace of Wands reversed often speaks of a time of feeling like we lack a spark of passion in something, which is funny because passion did come up here with that other card like we talked about earlier. And I think that's just hearkening back to what we already discussed, where something is going to maybe knock your confidence a little bit, or at least try to. Something might kind of come at your creative spark, and you know, maybe you're feeling like a little bit of writer's block or creative block in general, depending on your medium that you like to use to express yourself. Could also be something like at work too, even though I don't see a lot of pentacles or any pentacles at all actually in this reading. And yeah, something comes and knocks that. But I see you with that Nine of Swords reversed here as the second card. That's the card of not letting mental anxieties or stress get to you. And especially being next to the Ten of Wands or the spells here. It's like people try to unload this burden on you with that Ten of Wands. And you're just like, nah. I'm just going to let it go. I'm not going to let it weigh me down. Or at the very least, pile ones, you're being encouraged not to let it weigh you down, like we talked about earlier with that Nine of Swords reversed, okay? And two, like a main theme for this week is the Seeker of Visions, but it's known as the Queen of Cups in most decks. That is all about following your heart. We even have a literal musician here playing on looks like an Irish lap harp, technically, or it could be a lyre. I think it's an Irish lap harp, because I should know that because I have one. I literally have one like right behind me, but yeah, so that is someone who follows their heart, someone who follows their passions, and especially being in the suit of cups, that's water, which is emotions and relationships in tarot. So that too, like be very open to trying new things in your relationships, harkening back to the new experiences and possibilities. Be open to following your heart a lot more this week as well, because yeah, that's what the Queen of Cups does. She's a follower of her... Oh, I'm sorry. That is not the Queen of Cups. That's actually the Knight of Cups. I'm sorry. But it's kind of a similar message, because the Knight of Cups is about taking action on our emotions. So the Knight of Cups is someone who literally like follows their heart going forward. Like, I feel that I want to walk this different route to work and back today. And then the Knight of Cups would be someone who follows that. So, I mean, don't completely throw out what I said about the Queen of Cups, because it's very similar. I mean, literally they're right next to each other in the sequence of tarot. I mean, you have like the Page, the Knight, and then the Queen of Cups, right? Yeah, taking action on your emotions there. Just like this Knight of Cups is playing on his Irish lap harp. Like, I feel a tune, I'm going to create this tune, I'm going to play it, I'm going to let other people hear it, I'm not going to let that judgment get in my way like we were talking about earlier. And then, of course, at the very end here, we have the Nine of Spells, or the Nine of Wands reversed, and that's all about, you know, you might see some challenges in the next week here, so impeding your determination, or you might be tempted to kind of be less determined about things, because that's what that card is all about, especially reversed. It's like, I'm tired, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm sick of, you know, especially if it is other people that are involved, you're like, I'm sick of other people trying to like knock me down or poo-poo my ideas is another way I would put it, but just to be more blunt about it, poo-pooing your ideas, right? That's how I say it, but yeah. So they're encouraging you not to follow your heart rather than following the words of others. Because when you follow your heart with things, pile number ones, it's a lot easier to draw on that eternal well of willpower and inspiration than it is to draw on the approval of other people. Like, that's the thing, is when you give your power to other people, especially when it comes to, what do they think of me? How are they judging me? That literally is giving control away from yourself to other people. You're literally handing other people a remote and saying, here, click my self-esteem button today and tell me how I should feel about myself. But when you draw on your heart like the Knight of Cups would, following his heart, right? You don't have to worry about what do people think of me? Do they approve? You can try those new things and not have to worry about other people's opinions. So yeah, especially too, if there's any new projects that you're working on this week, and someone just comes up to you and is like, hey, I don't think you should do that. Follow your heart, pile number ones, if I were to summarize everything so far. But I also see, too, it's a really good week for if you've had a lot of stress and mental anxiety recently up until this week. That seems to, there's a time of that alleviating at least a little bit because of that 9 of Swords reversed here at the beginning. Especially around mental stress around burdens that you've had with that 10 of Wands being next to it, because the 10 of Wands is the card of, I call it the donkey card sometimes, because literally like a beast of burden. The 10 of Wands is about someone who's holding up a lot on their back. Like they have a lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of weight. There's a lot of, maybe even the weight is the judgment from others, but in general too, it could just be stress at work. It's stress from family related things, friendship related things, even romantic relationship, of course. Everyone's going to be a bit different in how that applies, but yeah, it seems like things are going to be alleviating there in that area with mental stress. That too with, let's see here, it's success with your projects as well. You do have a lot of cards about, especially that Knight of Cups is a really, really good indicator in that area of, success with things that you feel strongly about, because the cups are the suit of our feelings and our emotions. And yeah, that's basically it so far. Let's see. I do want to ask if they have extra advice for you in this next week, pile number ones. I'm going to draw 3 extra cards, let's say. So Spirit Team of Pile Ones, could you give me about 3 cards? If you had to give them 1 set or 3 sets of advice with each card for the next week, what would you tell pile number ones? Thank you. Okay, well, there's one. We have the Lovers, which can mean harmony in relationships. Sometimes it also means making a good choice. So it really depends on the other cards around it, at least the way I read it. And then we have the Tower reversed. That's also a pretty good sign. A lot of major arcana as well. And then we have the 3 of Swords. Interesting. 3 of Swords is about pain. So 1 moment of silence. Apologies, pile number ones, as I take a drink and look at your advice cards for this coming week. So if I had to summarize these 3 cards for you, pile ones, it's your spirit team is advising you to be careful with your choices this week, is how I would say that, especially regarding your relationships, be it romantic or platonic ones, because there's some sort of choice that is to be made that can help you avoid pain and upheaval in that area, because we have not only the Folly reversed, which is the Tower reversed in most tarot decks, you have the 3 of Swords, which is the card of pain. I probably will draw extra cards on this, because the Tower having come up, this is a little bit more of this advice is a little bit more, I don't want to say more important than any other kind of advice that could have come out, but especially because it's a choice to avoid disaster and pain. I want to make sure that I give you the advice that I can that helps you get to that good point with your free will. You know what I mean? I'm going to draw just 1 more card here. Spirit Team for pile number ones, could you give me 1 card that explains advice on making the right choice? Thank you. When this comes up in the next week. Let's gear them for the best success. Thank you. Probably that one right there. The Child of Challenges, which is the Page of Swords. So, pile number ones, when this choice comes up in the next week for you from the time you view this reading, the Page of Swords is a card of being very logical and being very wise and intelligent about thinking through, or another way to put that is thinking things through very carefully before you make a choice. So a piece of advice number 1 on this for the next week is think about things through a lot before you make a decision. That's number 1 that they want to tell you, to make sure that you make the right choice. Number 2, the Page of Swords I see too as like a very, sometimes I almost see it as like a university student or like an apprentice type card. It might be a choice that regards or like involves studying up on things or researching things a lot before you make that choice. Hence, we're kind of back to that original message of just think through it a lot before you go through with it. I would say, like, if you do that, you'll probably come through just fine, pile number 1s. But there is that little, like I was saying, there's just a little bit of a bump you have to be aware of in this next week regarding a choice. But if you think it through really well, if you research everything before you make a decision with that Page of Swords, things will come through just fine, and you'll avoid, like, that Tower and then the 3 of Swords, okay? So, well, and interpreting that's, upheaval and pain, right? Making the choice towards safety and away from pain. Research. Think it through. Don't immediately make that decision is what they're telling you. I mean, even like looking at this Page of Swords right here, or the Child of Challenges as it's known, that's a child that's sitting down on like a tree root, and she literally has like her hand to her chin, and she's thinking it through. How do I get out of this forest? How do I go forward? Am I really lost, or is there some sort of marker I can use to find my way? Is there something that I remember being told about how to navigate this area? Like, think of how like someone lost in the forest would think of trying to get their way back to safety. Be very careful and just be, do your research before you make a choice, I guess. It's just to repeat that point, pile number 1s. I don't want to scare you with this reading because I don't want you to be like, oh God, I'm going to make a bad choice. I'm seeing that because that Tower was reversed earlier, I think you're probably already kind of like likely to make the right choice, because the Tower reversed is about like avoiding an upheaval of some sort. Okay, sometimes it can even mean, it can also mean that sometimes there are things that should come down to make room for the better. So I also want to give you that interpretation of the Tower, and in which case I'm almost being told intuitively that this isn't a matter that's going to go away entirely after this week. It might be something, though, that would be very helpful to logically think through, how do I get through this so that it's a lot smoother sailing of a transition than it would have been had there been like an immediate decision made out of, fear or panic or things like that. So, like I said, I don't want you to run away from the reading feeling scared. You have everything you need to navigate this just fine, especially like, embodying that Page of Swords, being smart and logical and researching about it, right? But, anyone in life, there are times of change and there are decisions we have to make, and we always have the free will to make one decision over the other. And your spirit team is saying, we're behind you. This is the advice that we give you. You're going to make it through just fine. Just remember these things, okay? And it'll be kind of a smooth sailing transition rather than maybe something that could have been more painful had you not received this advice. Does that kind of make sense, pile number 1s? So I want to be, when I do see cards like that, I want to be an honest tarot reader and say, I do see this in the future for you. But of course, we always have free will. We always have choice, and things are never set in stone, pile number 1s. So, but yeah, if I see it, I want to say it because I want to give you a heads up. I would hate to be like, oh, look, a scary card, I'm just going to gloss over it and not tell you, rather than, okay, something came up that might be a little bit of a shake-up. Let's discuss how to best navigate that together to give you the best outcome possible. That's the kind of tarot reader I want to be, and so that's why, like I said, Page of Swords, think it through, research, and logic. So that is what I will leave you with, my wonderful pile number 1s. As always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. If it was, if it resonated, please like, comment, and or subscribe if you have not subscribed yet to the channel. It just helps me out, which helps me provide more readings for you and everyone else watching this video right now. And as always, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading, pile number 1s. Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number 2s. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about the week ahead and important guidance for those next 7 days. As you recall, your pile leader today was the barn owl and the hop with the keyword of wisdom. So we're going to put your pile leader over here next to the pine cone as always. And then, of course, as is custom, we're going to draw your tarot cards right now on screen. So, Spirit Team for pile number 2s. Could you give us around 5 cards, please, explaining about their week ahead? Thank you. So definitely that one, and that one next to it. They were really kind of popping out. And number 5. And let's unveil your cards, pile number 2s. First up from your Oracle decks, we have the card of number 24, Be Your Best Self Always. Be your best self always. Then from the Dream Ritual Oracle, you received Reframe. Reframe. Actually going to set that one a little further up here to make more room for the tarot cards. And then from Sacred Rebels today, you received number 10, Releasing Allegiances. There we go. And let's unveil your tarot cards. So card number 1, we have Moonlight, or the moon as it's known traditionally. Number 2, we have the 10 of Boons, or Pentacles. That looks like a fun time. I'd love to be at that feast table right now. There we go, the moon, the 10 of Pentacles. Number 3, we have the Seeker, or the Knight of Boons, or Pentacles. So, Knight of Pentacles, technically. Number 4, we have the Child of Boons. Lots of Pentacles this week, pile number 2s. I feel like your reading is going to be very heavily about like finances or career or like the material things around you. So yes, the Page of Pentacles reversed, or Child of Boons. Almost kind of gives you Hansel and Gretel vibes there with the candy house. And last but not least, we have the 9 of Cups, or Visions. A coin thrown into the well. So let's adjust these just a little bit to make some more room. And of course, if a card is obscured, you can always reverse a little bit and look at it closer if you would like to. And then I'm going to take just a quick little sip of tea, pile number 2s, and put together your message for your week ahead. Let's see here. Sorry for just a moment of silence. Sometimes intuitive messages come out when it's silent, so. Interesting here, pile number 2s. So, definitely, like I was saying, there's a lot of Pentacles. And a lot of Pentacles in a reading is indicative of a time of focus on the material things around us, like I said before. It's about our finances, it's about our career, and there's some sort of what I feel... The word that's coming out to me intuitively from your spirit team is misunderstanding, pile number 2s. Something to do with your work, or, you know, if you're retired, for example, something that you do in place of work. Whatever keeps you busy during the day, or whatever has been making you money, there's a misunderstanding opportunity here in the next week for you. And what pops out to me especially is, you know, reframe, and then we also have the moon. The moon is about illusions. The moon is about things not being what they seem. And so I think this misunderstanding is... It's something to do with, yeah, like your job, or like the whatever you do in place of a job if you're not currently working. And it feels definitely to like a group setting of some sort. So that could be like your workers or maybe your family, especially with that Ten of Pentacles. That can also be a family card at times. And what's the best way to put it? I'm sorry I'm pausing a lot, pile number 2, but I'm getting the messages kind of in like very like jilted spurts here. So it's intuitively that almost tells me that part of the misunderstanding is like there's going to be a situation in the next week where it's like you're not going to get information consistently. Like whoever is in charge of giving you information to get your job done or to get work done in this area, for some reason, like information's not forthcoming. And so that's going to create misunderstandings because it's like your mind will try to almost fill in the gaps, or it'll get a little bit like, you might get a little bit anxious and you're like, okay, well, what does the silence mean? Like what's going on? Or, sometimes I've experienced this myself. You'll be at a company when things are kind of quiet, everybody gets a little bit nervous because they're like, oh, is there going to be like restructuring or someone big getting fired soon? Things like that. And so yeah, it's like you might be inclined in the next week to see things that aren't really there in terms of those areas of your life with work and or what you do in replacement of work if you're not currently employed, right? But the good news is that it'll all work out in the end here, especially with the Nine of Cups being the last card. That card is, sometimes I see it as a card of emotional satisfaction, so that's a really, really good thing, right? But it's also the card of wishes granted or like emotional fulfillment, kind of it being next to the Ten of Cups, in the traditional order of the decks. It's not the happily ever after card, but it's like, still a really, really great time because it's, a wishes granted card, like the coin being thrown into the well. So when that situation comes up this week where you feel like information's not forthcoming and your mind starts to kind of anxiously fill in the gaps of like, why are things so quiet? Why am I not hearing back? Why is my manager not saying anything, or the people involved? Just know that no matter what the reason is, and we'll try to delve into that, I'll try to figure that out for you with the cards here, of course, but either way, just know that whatever the reason is, pile number 2, is that it's going to work out just fine with that Nine of Cups as the conclusion card. And you especially, I think it might come as a little bit of a surprise to you especially because you have the Knight of Pentacles as the core card here. I almost see that Knight of Pentacles as you. And the Knight of Pentacles is someone who is, their mantra is slow and steady wins the race, is the way I always say it. They're someone who is just doing their work, they're going along, she's mushroom hunting specifically. And I think things have been steady for so long for you in this area that you're like, it's just like a jolting surprise because you're like, well, wait a minute. And then it's like, all of a sudden you feel transported back to, now I'm kind of unsteady and now I'm not so sure, especially because you have the Page of Pentacles reversed right next to the Knight of Pentacles upright. And you're like, okay, now I feel really confused. Now I feel, and what's the best way to put it? Like you might even think, do I need to start like looking for something new in this area, or should I try to like start looking for new jobs, or it's some sort of like minor scare like that. And I don't want to say that to frighten you, pile number 2s. Of course, I never want to have that happen with my readings, but yeah, it's just the way intuitively I'm feeling, like empathically, emotionally with this reading is very, like there's just a lot of confusion and there's a lot of like things are not forthcoming. And then like especially the moon having been like the inciting incident card here, that's the card. I mean, like literally I'll show it up here in the middle here for you. I mean, it's a bunch of rabbits looking into like a moon pool, looking very, very dazed, like, and dancing mad in the background. I mean, that's literally even why we use the origin of the word lunatic, because Luna is like the moon. Okay, and so the moon has always been associated with madness, and so things might feel kind of crazy in this area of your life for the next week. Everyone might be you're probably not the only one that's going to be going through this at your work or, equivalent pile number 2s. Everyone's going to be kind of running around like a chicken with their head cut off, like, what the heck's going on? I'm so confused. What's going to be the outcome of this? But yeah, I do see for you at least, the Knight of Cups it's going to be fine, pile number 2. So it's just, for a second there, you might go from the really confident, everything's nice and slow and steady here, Knight of Pentacles, to, Page of Pentacles reversed. Now I feel really unsteady and I feel confused about my place in this area of life, and I feel confused about what everyone else is doing. And yeah, too, I mean, that's like a Hansel and Gretel card with that Page of Pentacles reversed. Sorry, just one second. And there might even be something offered to you, but it might be something that feels like a step back, and you don't have to take it, pile number twos. But it is something being offered to you. Something like, I wonder if, especially because you have the Ten of Pentacles, and that's like the legacy or the inheritance card. I wonder if, as well, it's like maybe a job being handed down to you, like someone leaves, and that's kind of what causes the chaos, and then all of a sudden everyone's like running around figuring out how to fill the space. And so it opens up an opportunity for you. But, as always, pile number twos, you have free will. And, no matter what I tell you in a tarot reading, like, you can, take the information and make the choices that you want to make, right? It's not set in stone. Destiny isn't written in ink. And so you can either stay on the path that you're on with the slow and steady, right? But you can also maybe take a chance with that Page of Pentacles reverse there. Take a chance with the thing that feels like it's a step back. But weigh your options carefully. Of course, I am going to ask more information and advice about that situation because I want to know, I want to give you the best advice to walk away from this reading with, pile number twos. But just be aware that seems like it's coming here in the next week or so. And two, be your best self always is a reminder to, throughout the situation, whatever happens, how crazy and chaotic and, mad rabbits dancing around in the forest vibe it kind of gives you at this place of work or the equivalent, just remember to keep your eyes on the light, keep your eyes on doing your best, keep your eyes on, okay, this is my little area here, this is the area I can control, this is the part of this situation that I can make sure goes well, just to kind of ride out maybe a little bit of chaos, right? Okay, and just, focus being on your best self always. And I see that for you, pile number twos. I don't think there's any, inclination for you to not do that. But, And then two, with releasing allegiances, that's a very interesting card. Because an allegiance is almost like an alliance or a loyalty to something. So I wonder if this situation going on is almost like it's going to knock your like alliances in this area of your life. Like, I know sometimes I almost see like departments moving or something like that, or like what's the best way to put it, especially if this is work related, it's like the changing of the trajectory of the company, or like I said, for those of you who are unemployed or retired, like in the same area of life, there's a different trajectory coming. And that's how I see that releasing allegiances. It's letting go of what we were loyal to in the past. And I think, too, with this information, eventually when it does come in after the time of maybe a little bit of things are not what they seem, it's going to give a whole new context to everything that was before, especially with that reframe card there from the Dream Ritual Oracle. It's like it's going to reframe the entire thing. And you're going to finally see that bird's eye view of, oh, that's why that was happening. So if in this area of your life you've been really kind of confused lately and you're not really sure, like if there's been rumblings at your work or there's been whispers of things and you're not sure, like information's just not coming through, like I was talking about earlier, that's... just be prepared in the next week for something to change in that area. It definitely seems like the better, because like I said, that Nine of Cups is a good sign, pile number twos. So, number one, I want to ask more about the choice between what seems like maybe a little bit of a step back or staying on the path that you're on. I want to make sure I give you the best advice for that, pile number twos. So, Spirit Team for pile twos, could you give me advice cards for when they come across that choice? Thank you. I want to give you the best tools I can, pile number twos, because I know if I were the one receiving the reading, I'd be like, help me. So we have the Eight of Pentacles being hard at work. She is she's spinning yarn, it looks like, on a spindle. Or thread, I should say, technically. Oh, the High Priestess. Follow your gut. Follow your gut. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles. Beautiful. That is wonderful. Lots of pentacles in this reading, pile number 2s. So, yes, okay. Advice. Pile number 2s. If in the next week you come across a situation where you can either continue on the path you're on, slow and steady, the same pace you've been going, or if there's a separate choice between that and the opportunity to what seems like maybe a step back or something that seems a little bit like the tangible example I'm thinking of, and it might not apply to all of you, but the tangible example would be, say, someone is offered, a promotion, but it's technically a step back, or you can stay in your current position, but it's still kind of the same old thing. Just as an example. Might not apply to everybody. When you come across that choice in the next week, pile number 2s. Your advice is to, number 1, follow your gut. You have the High Priestess there in the middle. She is someone who doesn't question. She asks herself deep down, what do I want? And that's her gut. Whatever her gut says, that's what she goes with. Okay, so follow your gut is number 1. Number 2, you also have the 8 and the 9 of Pentacles. 8 of Pentacles is all about being hard at work. It's almost seen as like a blacksmith card of someone like forging a hammer at the same thing. And then the 9 of Pentacles is about the fruits of our labor. I'll say this. You always have free choice and free will, pile number 2s. You can walk away from this reading, and if you find that choice is not right for you, you can say, screw the tarot reading, right? I'm never going to tell you you have to follow my advice. But your spirit team is saying here to maybe consider staying on the path you're on if that's what your gut says is the best thing to do. Because yes, sometimes it is wise to take risks and try new things, but especially with, you see like the 8 and then the 9 of Pentacles here, that tells me it's a story of someone who is walking on a path and they keep walking on the same path that they've been on, and they reap the fruits of their labor there, especially with the 9 of Pentacles from having done all that hard work. So in this area of your life, whatever you've poured the most work into, that is the area or the choice they're telling you to take. Of course, you always have free will and you don't have to do that. Number 1, follow your gut. That's my best piece of advice. But if even that isn't like the best indicator to you when the time comes, you're kind of like hemming and hawing and you're like, I don't know. Whatever you've poured the most resources into is probably the best choice. Free will considered. Okay. And then there was one other question I wanted to ask for you. I only asked one other question for pile number 1s, but I think for you I want to ask a separate one. What was that about? Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a brain fart. I just want to make sure that I give you everything that I promised because, releasing allegiances and then reframe. I'm going to ask, I think it was about reframing, like the bird's eye view. I want to ask what new perspective you might be coming to on this whole situation after that information finally comes out. So, Spirit, for pile number 2s, could you give me around 3 cards explaining what's the perspective shift? And also to like the loyalty shift. What's that all about? Thank you. Yeah, what's the loyalty shift? What's going on? So we have the Queen of Wands. That's about like internal confidence, fire, charismatic. 5 of Swords reversed is avoiding fights. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles, a new opportunity. That's very interesting, pile number 2s. Sorry, once again, I'm just going to take a sip of my tea and look over this. What's the reframing? What's the bird's eye view here? What's the change? Well, pile number 2s, I have a feeling it's actually probably a good change because you have the Ace of Pentacles, which is a new opportunity in the financial world or like the material around us, okay? You also have the 5 of Swords reversed, which is a really, really good card implicating avoiding conflicts. And the Queen of Wands can either be a feminine energy figure involved that is either a part of like the creative idea making in this group or this company, depending on how it applies to you, or like someone who is like a feminine energy leader and avoiding a conflict and following a new opportunity. I think you'll realize things were done for the sake of avoiding issues with finances or for the sake of avoiding fights regarding new opportunities or new directions. Like, I think what I was saying about with the Releasing Allegiances card you got earlier, the change in loyalty is, it's like a change in focus to something that would be more beneficial to everybody, not just in terms of like finance, of course, especially if it's like a business, you want to focus on, you know, making enough money to stay afloat, right? That's a good thing. But it's like a change in following something that's like a better opportunity and something more aligned with the passion of everyone involved, especially with that Queen of Wands. So yeah, I see, yeah, it's like, I mean, I know it's hard right now, pile number 2s, because you're probably like, okay, what the heck is going on? Especially with that moon, you're like, everyone's kind of dancing mad right now. Things are really confusing, information's not coming through, but I do see it's technically for the better in the end here, like a new opportunity to avoid conflict, to avoid issues. And then, yeah, remember too, the 9 of Cups we talked about earlier is the final outcome. That's like, yeah, the wishes granted card, emotional fulfillment and happiness, right? So just know throughout this week, pile 2s, if things seem kind of rocky or uncertain, it's going to be that little earthquake of uncertainty for a while, and then it's going to settle, and then the dust will clear, and then you'll realize, okay, now I understand that this choice was made towards following passion more, and this choice was made towards avoiding conflict and following a good opportunity, is how I would put it for every one of you as a general reading. So, yes, everything will be good, pile number 2s. Let me look over your cards and just make sure I haven't missed anything. We also, yeah, we did talk about the choice too, so we already covered that. All right, well, I believe that is everything for you, pile number 2. So as always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. You know, if it was helpful, if it resonated, please like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. That just helps me out, helps the channel out, which helps provide more readings for both you and everyone else who views this channel in the future. And as always, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading, pile number 2s, okay? Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number 3s. Welcome to your pick a card reading today about the next week ahead and important guidance in this area. As you recall, your pile leader today was the hawk and the thistle with graceful persistence as the keyword. So we're going to set your pile leader next to the pine cone over here. And as is custom, we'll draw your tarot cards right now here in the beginning. So spirit team for pile number 3s. Could you give me around 5 cards explaining the week ahead for them? Thank you. What's going to happen? What advice do you have? Thanks. There is that one for sure. And that one right there. Excuse me. My voice is a tad scratchy today. So let's unveil your cards, pile 3s. First up from the Oracle decks, you received number 1, Make a Wish. Blowing on a dandelion. Making a wish. Second one is Adventure. I don't think I've ever actually gotten this card in pick a card reading yet from this deck. You're the first one, pile number 3s. Actually, we'll set that one up there. And then we have the Sacred Rebels card today is 15, Big, Bold Vision. Bit of an Egyptian theme here with the Eye of Ra, honeybee. Very, very interesting, pile 3s. And then let's unveil your tarot cards. First up, we have the Lovers reversed. Oopsie, I almost grabbed 2 of them at the same time. Number 2, the 9 of Wands or Spells. Number 3, we have the Seeker or the Knight of Challenges or Swords, as it's known in most decks, reversed. Knight of Swords reversed. There we go. Sorry, I'm just straightening everything out. Make sure it looks neat. And then number 4, we have the Fairy Wind or the Chariot. And last but not least, we have the Huntsman reversed, which is Justice reversed in most decks. Lots of major arcana. And my longtime viewers will know what I'm going to say, but for new viewers, when I see a lot of major arcana in a reading, the majority, it tends to tell me that there's a life lesson on your path involved in the reading. That's what the indicator is to me. So I'm going to look over your cards here and take a sip of tea. Pile number 3 is apologies for a moment of silence as I look over and put together your message and gather some intuitive messages from your spirit team here for your week ahead. Well, there's some sort of dream you're working on. I can tell you that much, pile number 3s. And I think it's a dream that you feel like recently you made a bad choice for. Like in the energy running up to this reading, so the way I say that, I'm going to explain why. You have the Lovers reversed as the very first card. So I kind of see that as like the inciting incident of what's going on. And the Lovers, a lot of tarot readers read that as like a romantic card, and sometimes it is, right? But I tend to read the Lovers sometimes as a card of choices, different choices we can make. And sometimes, with the Lovers reversed being, that energy in the opposite, it feels like maybe there was a bad choice made, or at the very least, maybe you feel like you made a bad choice regarding a dream of yours. It's something to do with, you have a lot of cards that are about, you have Make a Wish over here with the blowing on the dandelion. You have Big Bold Vision, which gives me just like main goal vibes, like the main thing that you've been working on that you're really passionate about. And 2, you have Adventure. And you've been working on it for a long time too. I see that, especially with the pile leader you were drawn to with Graceful Persistence. And the intuitive, like, empathic thing I'm getting in is just this feeling of, like, disappointment is probably a better word to use. And so you're probably kind of feeling bummed coming up to this week because you're like, I feel like, I made the wrong choice. Things are going to go wrong. Like, did I fumble the whole thing? And what your spirit team is saying to you, pile number 3, regarding this area of your life. You have the 9 of Wands as the next card. Number 1, that's a piece of advice to, in this next week, keep going. That's the card of determination. That's the card of a lot of work over time. Even when you feel tired, even when you feel worn out, or you feel like everything is lost. It's almost kind of the moment after what we call the dark night of the soul in at least like writing terms, for those of you who are familiar with like writing. And the dark night of the soul in the story of a hero is the part where it seems like all is lost. Like, oh crap, the villain is going to win. Our team is beaten, our team is down. It can't possibly work from here. What the 9 of Wands is, pile 3, is that moment after the dark night of the soul of bolstering your forces, and you're like, wait a minute, not all is lost. There's a chance here, there's an opportunity. I have something to defeat the big bad, so to speak. The big bad in your situation, of course, feeling like this goal has been broken or this dream has been let go of. And so I see that for you in the next week of you finding something that helps you get out of that dark night of the soul and propels you forward and makes you realize, hey, wait a minute, there's still a chance. And that is a beautiful thing, pile number 3, because especially when you've had a dark night of the soul and all hope is lost, it can feel, and especially too, because it seems like you've been working on this for a very long time. Like I said, Graceful Persistence, Adventure, Big Bold Vision, Make a Wish, something you're really hoping for. It is so disheartening thinking that we've lost, but that's the beautiful message I get to deliver to you today is in the next week or so, it seems like something will come forward and give you the opportunity to say, hey, not all is over yet. We're not in the final inning. There's still some road to go on. There's still a path to walk in this area. I will pull some cards later for you talking about that. to give you advice in that area and kind of how that opportunity comes about. So just pause on that part of the reading because we do have some other things coming up here for the rest of your week. But yeah, that's piece of advice, or like area number 1 that your spirit team wanted to talk to you about, is to not let go of that dream and to keep working at it, because there is something good coming out of that area of your life here. So, and the next up you have the Knight of Swords reversed, which is about lack of taking action in terms of the things that we say sometimes. Sometimes it's the card of, a person who says something wrong or maybe misspeaks or does something in kind of a dumb way, as I would put it, because, the Knight of Swords. Swords are like intelligence in tarot. It's the suit of air, okay? So it might be a figure in your life this week, especially next to the Chariot, driving forward in injustice. I don't know if you've had, and I tend not to try to ascribe gender to figures that come out in readings, because as a general reading, this could be a man or a woman that pops up in your life, or is, you know what I mean, pile number 3s. But typically I see knights as like a masculine energy, okay? And so this, it feels like recently, has there been someone that's kind of like masculine energy in your life recently that's been kind of like, either they've been harsh with their tongue or they've just kind of been doing dumb things? I hate saying dumb, but like, that's literally like the Knight of Swords reversed is someone who maybe does something. They take action without logic in mind is how I would put that in a nicer way. And they're just driving forward with it anyways. With the Chariot there, it's like, near them, I'm just going to go forward, even though they didn't really like think about it right. And with the Justice card reversed here in the outcome, it's like it's going to lead to something that makes something unfair, or it's like they speak harshly against someone and it leads to an injustice. They didn't think it through, or this is future energy. I'm sorry, I'm talking about it in past. This is technically future energy because it's the week ahead. They don't think it through, and then they just charge forward, and then, oops, here's an injustice. And that could manifest either in it having been like an extension of why you felt like you fumbled this dream, or it could be something completely separate. As a general reading, everyone's going to be different watching this video, but yeah, someone's... We'll just call them the dunce cap person, okay? So dunce cap person, charges forward and doesn't lead to the greatest outcome. That's interesting. I'm going to draw some more cards on that as well for you, pile number 3s, because I want to know more about the outcome of that and like what's going on. You have quite a multifaceted reading. Most of the other piles today had, I would say, kind of a soul focus in their readings, but you have a lot of different things popping up here. So I'm going to shuffle the cards here in the back and draw some more. So first up, remembering what I said about the 9 of Wands, I want to ask your spirit team if they could give us about 3 cards explaining what is the opportunity that comes forward and breaks the dark night of the soul moment for pile number 3s. Thank you. What breaks the dark night of the soul? What gives them the opportunity? You have the Keeper or the King of Cups. Okay. We'll talk about that in a second. The Seeker or the Knight of Boons, Pentacles reversed. Interesting. I feel like there's another figure involved here. We'll talk about that. Sorry, intuitive thing was popping out. I'll draw the next card. You're probably like, draw the next card. And then we have the 7 of Wands, which is a card of defensiveness. Pile 3s. What I'm being told intuitively here is when, let's rewind a little bit, back to you felt like the dream was gone, you fumbled it, you felt like all was lost, okay? That opportunity coming up for you in the next week regarding what's going to kind of save you from that dark night of the soul moment is someone who is, and once again, I don't typically like using gender, but the king or the keeper is usually masculine energy. So someone who is very in tune with their emotions, someone who is speaks very empathetically, someone who is in touch with their feelings and your feelings, and whoever that is, they're a figure coming forward here in the next week to help you get back on track in a way that they'll be defending you, is how I will put that. So when you feel like all is lost, look out for someone who is very emotionally intelligent and skilled in that area to come forward and defend you, to help defend your dream, the thing that you've been working on. And then, yeah, looking at that Knight of Pentacles reverse, that's very interesting here. It's either they're defending you from this person, the dunce cap person as we called them, or they're... Because that means, like, I'm sorry I'm pausing so much, but I just want to make sure that I'm interpreting it correctly for you, pile number 3s. Yeah, it's like they get you back on track with this. They get you back on taking action in terms of, like, the physical with this dream. Not necessarily, like, I'm not saying that they'll give you, like, money, or that they'll give you, like, a place to stay regarding this dream, depending on how that applies to everybody watching this. But yeah, they defend you, and they take the way that things have gone wayward and they get them back to the path that they're supposed to be walking on, pile number 3s. And I almost want to say the word lawyer kept coming up intuitively while I was looking at that King of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles reversed. So I don't know, especially because with Injustice over here with the literal Justice card reversed as the outcome, I wonder if you've been having some, like, legal things recently and you've been worried about it, and maybe the legal thing has kind of drawn your dream off track. Because sometimes, like, you know, say you start a business and then some person comes along, maybe dunce cap person, and sues you or something, and then you're like, oh crap, my dream is off the rails, like, this is my dark night of the soul. Just, yeah. Or if you're, like, looking for a lawyer, look for someone who is very emotionally intelligent and is in touch with feeling empathetic, okay? And they'll help you get back on track, and they'll defend you here, pile number 3s, okay? So that's what saves you from that dark night of the soul with your dream. And then the second part I want to ask about is dunce cap person, is how I'll put it. I want to ask, what's the best way to word that? The question. Because I want to ask the most effective one for you. So let's see, that was the Knight of Swords reversed with the Chariot, and they just charge forward. I want to know, what is the outcome, at least on the path you're currently on with this person? What's the outcome of that person, dunce cap, charging forward? Okay, I mean, of course, yeah, there's injustice, but I want to know more. So 3 cards, please, Spirit Team of pile 3s. Outcome. Oh, beautiful. We have the Star, hope or faith. Okay, so that's a very, very positive sign, pile number 3s. If you're really worried right now, especially if there's, like, legal troubles been going on, okay, just deep breath. Let's see what else pops out, but that is a very good sign. We have the, oh, beautiful. Oh, that is a beautiful card to get, pile number 3s. That is, like, the best card you could have gotten for this situation. You know I was talking about, I was like, oh, it feels like your dream is dead. Okay, you have the 10 of Swords reversed. We'll talk about that in a second, but you're getting a thumbs up right now, so that is fantastic. And then we have wonderful Ace of Pentacles. Okay, sorry, I'm, like, nerding out, but pile number 3s. Despite whatever dunce cap down here is trying to do, well, as we call them, I'm sorry, that's just funny, but despite what they're doing, the outcome of what they're doing is not going to work out for them, okay? Because you have the Star, which is hope or faith in things. You have the 10 of Swords reversed, which I was just gushing about, because literally that means it's not over yet, okay? It's not the end that you thought it was. That's literally what the 10 of Swords reversed means, okay? It also can mean betrayal backfiring. So if this dunce cap person who... I laugh every time I say that, sorry. If dunce cap person betrayed you in some way, it's going to backfire on them. And then we also have the Ace of Pentacles here. That is a new opportunity in the financial world. So especially, or material, I should say, technically. So especially if this is like a business that's been derailed because of legal issues, whatever that person is doing, they're going to, yeah, the dunce cap person isn't going to win, okay? Especially if you do have, like, a really great lawyer and it is, like, a legal thing. But of course, that might not apply to everybody watching this, but... yeah, so whatever it is you're worried about with whatever this person is doing, it ain't going to work in their favor, pile number 3s. You're going to have a new opportunity. What seemed like the end isn't, and they're telling you to have hope or faith in things working out. beautiful. That is, see, those are my favorite types of readings to give pile threes, because like I love, I want to be an honest tarot reader, so I don't want to like sugarcoat if bad things do come out, but at the same time, like I'm so happy when I can be like, it's gonna be great, pile number threes, or whatever pile I'm talking to. Yeah, beautiful. And maybe that's even why Make-A-Wish came out, because that's too graceful persistence, because it's almost like your spirit team reminding you that good things do happen, pile number threes. Dreams do come true, and I know it sounds corny and like I'm just shilling from, a Disney pamphlet or whatever, but this is the type of reading where it's like the dream is going to come true. Things are going to work out in this area of your life, and I'm so happy to be able to deliver that message to you. Beautiful. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay, so you have a little bit more time left compared to the other pile threes, and I want to see if there's like maybe one more question I want to ask for you. I'm going to ask about the outcome of this dream. Where is it leading to? So spirit team of pile number threes, could you tell me more about... See, and I wish if I was doing these readings live, I could ask you what you want to ask pile number threes, because I'm also inclined towards doing a question on like just final advice for the week ahead. Let me try to think what's the most helpful for you. I'm sorry. I'm hesitating here because I just want to make sure. Okay, they're telling me to give you advice ahead, like just final pieces of advice, because we talked about events, and we already know that like there's a good outcome coming. So we'll ask about advice for the week ahead, just as a final touch. So spirit team of pile number threes, the 3 cards for advice. What else would you tell them just to prepare them for this week ahead? So that one came out. We have the Forge or Temperance reversed. Then this one is the 6 of Wands. Beautiful. A lot of dragons in this reading. I know it's a fantasy deck technically. And then you have the High Priestess reversed. High Priestess reversed. So lasting parting advice from them for this week ahead, pile threes. Well, they're reminding you victory is at hand because you have the 6 of Wands. That's literally what victory means, is victory is coming, right? Fantastic. But looking at Temperance reversed and the High Priestess reversed. Okay, so High Priestess reversed is a piece of advice to you to follow your gut or your instinct a little bit more. The High Priestess is someone who doesn't really question their gut feelings. They're someone who takes in those downloads and they go forward full speed ahead with them. So piece of advice number 1, besides just remember things are going to turn out okay with that 6 of Wands, is follow your gut this week. In fact, you're kind of similar to pile number 2s that way. They had a similar message. But yeah, follow your gut this week with that High Priestess reversed. And then with the Temperance card reversed, that's asking for more moderation or more balance. And being next to that 6 of Wands is almost telling me that when your mind this next week starts moving towards extremes, especially if you come across situations that are making you anxious, especially too if like there's like legal battles going on, which is like never fun, of course. Remember balance. Remember not thinking of extremes in terms of either optimism or pessimism. Take the middle road between, acknowledge the cloud, but also look at the silver lining is how I would put that. That's the way they're telling me to tell you that piece of advice, pile number 3s. But yeah, things are going to work out just fine. In fact, I think every pile today had a pretty good outcome, and that's always fun to do because I love being able to give happy readings. So yeah, follow your gut. Moderate your mind. Victory is at hand. So, yeah, just parting advice, too, is just, keep being persistent with your dream here, pile number 3s. I know it's really hard to move through times of uncertainty and anxiety regarding, you felt like maybe you made a bad choice and you felt like you fumbled it, but I'm getting repeated messages here that it's not the end and things are going to work out okay with this dream of yours. And so, maybe even to help get you through the hard times, think about where you're going to take this dream next after this hurdle is overcome, after this mountain has been climbed. And focus on the future. Focus on, what's your next wish after this one? Okay. So that is what I will leave you with, my wonderful pile number 3s. As always, if that reading, you liked it, if it resonated, please like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. That just helps me out, which helps me, provide more readings for you and everybody else that views Lone Pine Tarot. And on top of that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope to see you in the next reading, my lovely pile number 3s. Bye.